So I do have some other jobs on the go right now, but at the moment I'm requiring a new drive shaft on the driver's side, which means that I've got the perfect opportunity to show you that the bottom arms and ball joints aren't all that bad to fit on the V70 second generation. So I'll start with the ball joint, which is the biggest worry for most people, including myself. So we've got an 18mm nut and a T40 Torx for the centre, and surprisingly enough, these are nowhere near as bad as other manufacturers. I managed to break this off with a breaker bar, and I won't be able to record it very easily, but I can do this with a open-ended spanner and the ratchet. So now if you were just removing the bottom arm, the arm is free from ball joint. Now for this rear bush here, we've got a 21mm nut on the top and an 18mm bolt underneath. You'll be able to break the bolt off with an 18mm on a breaker bar, and then you can just support the top nut with a spanner. I'm not going to lie, this side's been a lot harder than the other side, so I'm having to use 2 breaker bars, but it is coming slowly. It's like the bush is pinching on the bolt, so when I'm turning the bolt, it's turning the bush at the same time, so I'm having to work against the bush for some reason. So imagine the bolt must be corroded inside there, but I'm just about coping. Right, so the bolt was dry all the way out through the bearing, which is what caused me the issue, and I couldn't get any penetrating fluid down onto it. But we've got that one out, so now onto the front one. So on the passenger side, we've got plenty of room. We do need to remove the under tray, which is held on by 10mm bolts, and what we've got here is 2 17mm bolts going through to the bush. On the driver's side though, the engine is slightly in the way, and if you read the manual it does say that the engine will need lifting 25mm, but this isn't necessarily true. If you've got an angled ring spanner like this, there's no issue. Give the threads a clean. We don't need to use the spanner on the passenger side, fortunately, so I can use the breaker. Now you can just undo the bolts until the threads are no longer in the bush. You don't need to pull them fully out through the subframe. And now if the ball joint is loose enough, if you pull the steering out, should be able to wriggle it free at the front here. And there we have it, off the car. So we just need to switch over the steering stops. So 13mm bolts on the steering stops. I'm not going to leave all these washers in as I'm not running 19-inch wheels at the moment. Now we've got the steering stop fitted to the new bottom arm. Now we need to go back to the ball joint. So we've got two 14mm bolts holding it into the hub. Wire brush, penetrating fluid, and give the ball joint a hit here with a lump hammer just to twist it out off the hub. And we should just be able to tap it down. So you've got a choice now. You've got the old ball joint out. So I've actually ended up doing it separate because it's so hard to line it up and get it in straight. So I'm knocking it in gently each side. So to get the bottom arm relocated at the back here, I've had to take out the drop link and jack up the hub in order to get the bolt through here, after which I will push the arm down and swivel it to the front mount there. So for getting the ball joint back into the lower arm, it's quite awkward. If you try jacking up the hub assembly, the whole thing starts straying off to the front of the car. So what you've got to do is you've got to get a ratchet strap or some sort of leverage to get the lower arm down low enough to get the ball joint back in.
Okay.
What? And now you can tighten the nut as necessary. If you need to hold the centre, I've got a T40 Torx, or I think that's about 5mm hex.